Hey, so you're thinking about buying a cottage or a home in Tiny, Ontario? Well, stick around. In this video, I'm going to take you on a Google map tour of the west side of Tiny, which we call Tiny Beaches, Tiny Beaches. Tiny Beaches Road North, Tiny Beaches Road South. I'm going to explain to you some of the different tiny beaches along that western side of Tiny and just highlight some of them. There's quite a few tiny beaches in the not so tiny, but I'm going to highlight some of them, and maybe some of them will resonate more with you. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. That way you'll just be the first to know everything that's happening in Tiny or the surrounding areas. My name is Kevin Silva, and I'm a local real estate agent here, and I get calls and emails and people reaching out all the time to looking to move to Tiny or buying a cottage or in the general area. So it doesn't matter if you're looking to make that move next week, next month, next year, or if you just want to learn more in general, make sure you reach out to me. In the description box of this video, there's all the ways you could do that, including a Zoom link where you can book a call directly on my calendar, and we can get to know each other that way at a time that works for you, and I can share my screen, and we could do a deeper dive into your search. Let's dive into my computer right now and start exploring tiny beaches. I'm going to start on the south end of Tiny. So I just typed in Tiny into the search bar here, and you'll see that it kind of goes this is the outline all the way here, right? And it starts on the southmost point at Allenwood Beach, and then it can go all the way around, up to here, kind of being the northern parts of Tiny. But don't get fooled. This is a big drive from Allenwood Beach over here on the south end to, let's say, let me think here. If I go along Champlain Road to like Kettle Beach, let's say, that's a good hour drive almost. So again, they're not so tiny, but I'm actually not going to focus too much on the west side of Tiny today. That borders Midland and Penetanguishene and all that stuff. I'm going to focus basically from Allenwood up to, Georgian Sands, LaFontaine area. So I'm going to start on the south side here. So Allenwood Beach, right over here, borders Wasaga Beach, the new Wasaga area. So a lot of people that spill over from Wasaga, they do hang out down Allenwood Beach. There is a provincial, there's some provincial parking there. There's some municipal parking there on the Wasaga side, like kind of right on the border, right? So Allenwood Beach technically is on the Wasaga side, but it kind of spills over into Tiny a little bit. So a lot of people hang out on this Wasaga side, where there is some public parking right here along Eastdale Drive. You'll see right here, there's some parking area there. So again, if I click on that, can we look at some photos over here? This is the Allenwood Beach area here. Pretty cool spot. A lot of families go hang out on this side if they don't want to be necessarily right near the Beach 1 area of Wasaga, so they go hang out on this side of Tiny, and it has parking. It's on the Wasaga side, but a lot of Tiny residents go here. So I'm just kind of mentioning it, even though this is like a Wasaga beach, but it's on the border. It's right on the border here, so I just kind of almost consider it Tiny. Really, the first official beach in Tiny is Woodland Beach right here, also known as the Family Beach. A lot of family cottages over here. This is it's a really nice beach area. They sometimes, when the water's really high, the beach isn't as predominant, because some of the sand, it just comes up a little high, and they don't have a very wide beach there like some areas in Wasaga. There's a few areas in Tiny like that, so you do have to be kind of careful. So if I drop our little Google guy right here, this is the entrance. This is kind of the look. Wasaga's the border there. So again, Allenwood is like on the Wasaga side, and then if I turn over to this side, we got Tiny and the start of Woodland Beach. And you can see even there, it's a little distorted, but let me see if I can step back a tiny bit. Woodland Beach, the family beach. We have a lot of friends that do have cottages in Woodland Beach. They love it. It's a great spot. Now, one thing to be careful about Woodland Beach, depending on where you are, Let me zoom in here a little bit. As you get to the north part of Woodland Beach, it gets a little more, let me see here, it gets a little more cliffy. Like around here, it's not so much sandy beach. So for example, like here, Willow Drive, that's not a sandy beach. Down here is fine. And then like that kind of south part of the Woodland Beach, this is all sandy over here. But as you get over here, it's not, it's kind of cliffy and rocky, so you actually can't even walk the beach there. Let's see if there's any listings over there we can kind of show you. Right along here, it's very rocky. So you got to be careful. If you know, just with beach access and how important that is to you, or like if you're right on the waterfront, you know, it might not, sandy beach might not be so important, but especially if you're a back lot, if you live on Spruce and you want to go to the beach, you just have to go more. There's a bit of beach up here on this axis right here. It kind of just, it's cliffy between, basically between here and like down here. So it's also pocket specific. We'll take you on a driving tour next, and I'll show you that. So you can see how it's kind of level, but if you go more down the street, like more south, it will be rocky again. So let me just go back here. So yeah, just something to be careful about. Moving up from Woodland Beach is the Edmore Beach, the Edmore Beach area, and even, let's see here. Edmore Beach is pretty private. Like it's not too many people go there. The people that hang out at the waterfront are just kind of this pocket over here. They do have nice beach, especially around this point. So it's a little rockier here, right? And then as you turn this point of Edmore Beach to the north side of this point, it gets sandy, and you can even see it kind of on the Google map, right? If you were to zoom in, you can just kind of see how it's sandy. Let's go back to MLS and see if there's any listings over there. Not very common, but again, you could see that how it's like cliffy here. You don't really see much sand. You see a little bit in front of some houses, but it's super cliffy here. And then as you get a little bit around that bend, it's like wide and sandy again. And I know it's a still image, it's a Google Map image, but it represents it well. Let me see, what's this we got? See, look how nice and sandy that is. This is a great spot over here. Like super awesome spot. Sandy beach, private. The thing with Tiny, guys, a lot of people don't realize this, is there's like barely any parking for day tourists, for just going for the day. So a lot of the beach use in Tiny is people that either have a beachfront cottage or one of the back lots, you know, something in behind here or like back here. A lot of people will use one of the accesses and go use the beach, but there's really, all the parking in Tiny is just, there's a few parking spots at those easements to the beach, and it's people who live, they have to have a pass. You have to have a pass that you have a cottage or you own a place in Tiny. The only exception to that is in Balm Beach, which I'll get to in a second. Balm Beach has some open municipal parking, but very few spots. So yeah, that's Edmore Beach. So that's a cool little spot. A few nice pockets over here on Ronald and Evergreen, and Doan. And this is a nice, pretty secluded spot. Because even if you're just driving through, a lot of people will drive through Tiny beaches just kind of on their way up towards either Balm or their cottage along one of the Tiny beaches. So you don't get any like day tripper traffic here or in most places in Tiny, other than Balm. Moving up to Deanlea and Bluewater. I love Deanlea and Bluewater. Like this pocket over here. Let me go back to Google Map. I'm switching between Google Map and my MLS to show you some listings. So this pocket right here, I think I'm gonna say it's my favorite pocket in Tiny. I love going to Balm Beach. I love going to the restaurants there and hanging out over there. But in terms of a nice cottage area, I just love Deanlea and Bluewater. So let me show you a couple things about this. So actually, I have a few pictures here. Let's see here. So these are pictures I've taken with my phone in the Deanlea area there. Look how still this water is. Like, look at that. Like, it's so secluded, and really only the people that go here are the people that live on these streets over here, right? So if you live on Nicole or Nadia or Vincent or Deanlea here, well, Deanlea they'll use another access, but especially like on this side, I'm going to split this up a little bit because it is a little bit different. Deanlea on this side, Bluewater on this side, and there's an access right here from the back side to go to the beach, and there's a cool boardwalk there. You walk down the boardwalk and you go to Bluewater Beach. It's an awesome spot. Like, let me see if there's any pictures here on Google. I'm sure there is. You'll see some pictures of the boardwalk. I don't want to see winter pictures. I want to see summer pictures. Oh, there's the sand dunes. That's probably a fall. Yeah, it looks like a fall picture. But up here is where that access is from that Nicole street that I was showing in the Google map. So that's where all the back lot. So that's where all the people that live on these streets, Nicole Boulevard or Nadia Crescent, they'll just walk over here and then go down that path and go over to the beach from there. They got some tennis courts here too. Here, let me see if I could show you. Oh, there they are. Cool. So that's the tennis courts right there. Let me go back and show you where that access is, so you can kind of see it from the Google side. Right here. So people that live on these streets, you can see right here, Nicole Boulevard, right? See that over here? So we're on that corner of Nicole Boulevard. People that live here they walk over and they just go down this, and then that brings them to that boardwalk. The boardwalk, and you just walk down the stairs right here and you're at the beach. Look at that. Look at that view. It's a cool walk. There's the sand dunes there. Not too many of these sand dune places around here, so this is a really cool private way to get to Bluewater. Let's see if there's a little video here. Oh yeah, look at that. Awesome. Oh, there's the sand dunes right there. There's the boardwalk. There you go. So yeah, that's a really cool spot. Arguably one of my favorites in Tiny, the Bluewater area, for sure. So as we work up, you can see all the different beach names. This is what makes it Tiny Beaches. Georgina, Wendake. These are pretty private over here. Mostly just the beachfront cottages hang out here, and the people on the other side of Tiny Beaches Road South. And by the way, Tiny Beaches Road South, it splits to Tiny Beaches Road North at Balm Beach. That's the line between north and south. So that's just something to note if you're shopping for a cottage. If you're south of Tiny Beaches Road, like the split in Balm Beach, lots tend to be a little bit smaller, especially on the waterfront, 40s, 50-foot lots. Some bigger ones, but that's what you see a lot of. And as you go more north of Balm Beach, the lots do get a little bit better and more spaced out. But it ends up being, so I'm going to point this out right now. So let's say you're at the north end of Tiny. Let's say La Fontaine versus Bluewater Beach. So La Fontaine versus Bluewater Beach, that could be like a half an hour difference, and that's kind of a big deal when you're coming from the city, because it could be about, to get to, going up to 400 from here and then going over to the Deanlea Bluewater area. Let's say it's an hour and a half, or an hour and 40 from somewhere in the GTA, depending on where you're coming from. But all of a sudden, if you're, instead of going to Deanlea and you have to keep going up this, and you have to get to La Fontaine, that's another half an hour to 40 minutes in some cases. So your hour and a half or hour and 40 minute drive to the south end of Tiny can easily be a 2 hour plus, 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes if you're going to the north end of Tiny. And it's not a huge difference, but when you're already having that long drive up to 400, it could be something to think about as you're going up. Remember, you're coming all the way from this, right? Or not you, but a lot of people might be. So just as you get up there, you just want to get to the cottage, right? So right here is one of the only public boat launches in Tiny. So if you're going to be launching a boat a lot, you might want to be fairly close to this. That's something, sorry, that's something pretty important to note. Let me see if I can show the boat launch here. There you go. Oh, perfect shot. There you go. There's a public boat launch right here. Right. And then you can go off from here. But if you're, depending on where you are, where your cottage is, if you could be 25 minutes away from this boat launch, just kind of adds to the drive, right? Okay, I'm gonna go to Balm. I'm gonna spend a few minutes on Balm here because Balm is the bomb. I just thought of that on the spot. I swear I didn't think of that before. Okay, I'm gonna bring the Google guy here. So this is Balm Beach. So this is your typical perfect summer day. People are out. Again, this is the spot where I said there's most of the parking for go to pretty much any of these public beaches on the west side of Tiny Township in Tiny beaches. This is kind of all the parking. You'll see a little bit back here, a little bit here, a little bit here. That's about it. But I love this beach. This beach is awesome to come and hang out for the day. You can boat over here from Wasaga. You got a few people on boats there. If you come over from Wasaga, you're looking at about a half an hour boat ride, depending on your speed, a little quicker, a little longer. In the summer, the arcade is open, the Georgian grill. Been there for it's been there forever. Let me see if there's a date on it. I'm gonna say like 1940. Oh look, 1934. See that? Been there a long time. So inside there, there's an arcade, like kind of old school, with some new games too. And then there's a grill in there too. So we got, sausage on a bun, hamburgers, stuff like that. Hamburgers, hot dogs, poutines. It says all that right here. And then right here is actually one of my favorite restaurants, and not just Tiny, but Tiny, Wasaga, Collingwood, Blue Mountain, where I live, and going out to restaurants. I mean, Blue Mountain's got some good options, of course, in Collingwood and Wasaga, but this is one of my favorites. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's a really cool, good food, good cocktails, good drinks, great view. Actually, I have some of my own photos here in an album. That's right off my phone. That's going there for sunset, having a drink. Look at that view. It's such a great spot. Even at night, there's a couple shots here. I probably stopped for a hot dog at the arcade for lunch, showing some properties, and just took a quick video. I stop there often when I'm showing properties in Tiny. I stop in Balm Beach very often for a quick snack, just look around, enjoy the view for 5 or 10 minutes while I'm having some lunch, and then I move on with the showings. But yeah, Balm Beach, super cool spot right here. Let's check properties in Balm Beach. The lots are kind of tight actually, right around Balm Beach. You'll find some really small lots, like something like this, $4.99. Actually, this lot doesn't look too bad, to be honest. But some of them are pretty tight, pretty small cottages. But it's a cool spot. Like it's one of my favorites in Tiny. Well, in Tiny, it's my favorite along with Bluewater. I love Bluewater, but Bluewater's like quiet, private, like that. Balm Beach is just not too much hustle and bustle, but just enough, right? I think they have music every Thursday. They have a band. They put them on the beach. It's really cool. Yeah, it's just such a cool spot. Let's see if they have any other photos here. You can even just browse around on Google. Just look at other people's photos that they've uploaded to Google. I don't want to see winter pictures. Summer only. Anyways, but yeah, the Balm Beach, super cool spot. And remember, if you're there, definitely go to the arcade, play some games, go to the Balm Beach Bar and Smokehouse and get I think that Philly cheesesteak, pulled pork. It's a bar, so they got like bar food, but it's really good. Honestly, I'm really impressed with this place, and the view. Honestly, I'm gonna for sure the best waterfront view in southern Georgian Bay, like from Blue Mountain Collingwood, Wasaga, and all of the west side of Tiny, this is the best waterfront view you will get, for sure, 100%. First of all, Wasaga, especially right now, our waterfront restaurants, Wasaga's being remodeled and redeveloped on the main end, so they're all actually down right now. There is no restaurant for beachfront dining, and even when they're open, they're usually a lot busier because there's so many people in Wasaga Beach Area 1. Collingwood has one waterfront dining restaurant at the Living Water Resort. Blue Mountain doesn't have any. So yeah, this is like the best from a view perspective, for sure, the best. And honestly, food is awesome too. I'll vouch for it. So definitely something to note there. So yeah, that's Balm Beach. Again, properties there, 4, 5, 6, 700,000, just depends on size and finishes and stuff like that. But a lot of smaller cottages that have, a lot of them been converted to year round. So I mean, they could be used year round, but don't be fooled. You could see the mountain. You might have seen in some of the pictures where you can kind of see across the bay at Balm Beach to Collingwood, Blue Mountain over here. When you're looking at it, it looks not that far, but that is a long, I'm telling you, this drive to Collingwood, Blue Mountain is like an hour. So I know it looks like it's close when you're looking at it from the water side, but it is not that close. It's an hour drive, like, for sure. So honestly, you could almost make it to Blue Mountain from like Vaughan in not that much longer than from Balm Beach, even though it looks a lot closer. It just takes some time to go all the way around the bay here. Okay, so Balm Beach. Then north of Balm Beach, you got north of Balm Beach, they're still a little tight just north of it, but then they start getting wider as you get up here into some of these areas, Georgian Sands Beach and La Fontaine. Some of these are pretty cool. They'll have like these crescents, and then they'll have some private water access. They have like basically a small yearly fee, some of these, to live in this area. Very small. I'm talking like a couple $100. I think just maintains the park benches and a couple things, but there's like a bunch of accesses around all these courts and crescents. So that's pretty cool. There's more of those courts and crescents up here, like these things right here. There'll be a bunch of accesses there. In the Sandcastle Beach, but again, those are like little communities, and you just have to pay a small fee to be in them. La Fontaine Beach. I'm going to show you La Fontaine Beach. So La Fontaine right here. It's another pretty popular spot if you're going north of Balm, hanging out in Tiny. It's just quieter, a little bit more spacious than almost anything south of this, right up to Wasaga. So from that Allenwood Woodland border on the south end of Wasaga up to Balm, again, they're kind of smaller lots. It's still good space, but they're a little smaller. And then as you get to La Fontaine, they're usually a little bit bigger. You get a bit more a little bit more land bang for your buck, for sure. But I want to remind everybody of something. All right, but I want to remind everybody of something. If you're going to like anywhere north, Tiny, like La Fontaine, like we were just talking about, is that extra drive from Toronto. As you're going up Barrie and going up the 400, you hop on a 93, getting off here or getting off here to the south end or getting off here at the top end of La Fontaine, like that starts adding time to your drive, right? So just again, be very, very mindful of that. Other than that, La Fontaine, honestly, I think it's really cool beach, really nice. Let me drop Google guy. There we go. There's the beach access. Again, not a ton of parking. You'll see a few people lined up here. There's a bit of more extra parking there, but not a ton. There's a park right here. Little swing sets, a couple things, and then a little picnic area. And this is a nice beach too. So La Fontaine is, yeah, I think it has some charm. I think it's a cool spot. So, okay. That's a shot from La Fontaine looking towards Blue Mountain. That is over an hour drive. Probably an hour and 10. Actually, let's check it in Google right now. From La Fontaine Beach, directions to Blue Mountain. An hour and 18-minute drive. An hour and 18-minute drive. You saw how close that looked a second ago? It's an hour and 18-minute drive. You can almost get there from Vaughan in that time. So please don't get fooled. It's not close to Blue. It's not close to Blue Mountain, all right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about buying your cottage, because some people buy their cottage in anywhere around this area and maybe want to do these day trips over to Collingwood or Blue Mountain or Wasaga Beach, and just be mindful of that as you're getting more and more north on Tiny Beaches Road. And let me point that out. When I was talking about Tiny Beaches Road, north and south, Balm Beach right here is the cutoff. So you'll see how it turns Tiny Beaches Road north, Tiny Beaches Road south. So that's the cutoff for the north and south, something to note. And then look how many there's tons of listings. Look how many listings are there right now, and it really depends what you want. Space, privacy, a little bit of buzz, distance from home, from the GTA. If you live in LaFontaine, most of your day-to-day activities like shopping, grocery shopping, all that stuff, you're not going to Wasaga or anything like that. You'd be just shooting over to Penetanguishene or Midland. If you're anywhere, even in Balm Beach, like Midland's just like, that's like a 15-minute drive. So super convenient to go to those towns for some more amenities and restaurant options and stuff like that. And so keep that in mind. North of LaFontaine, there's still some other cool spots like Cedar Point and Kingswood and Georgian Highlands, Silver Birch, Thunder Beach, pretty private. Maybe not super private, but it's a pretty private spot here too. And then a lot of people don't know about this lake, this Farlane Lake, inland lake, not very big. I think it's pretty cool. Let me see if there's some shots in the lake over here, some decent shots. Let's see what we got here. Come on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's not a very big lake, but it's a pretty cool lake. I'll tell you that. All right, so that's Farlane Lake, and then of course there's a few extra pockets up here along Champlain Road, and all these crescents over here have some of their beach accesses too. So this is very nice too, but it's just further north depending on where you're coming from, and again depends what you want and what you like. For this video, I was kind of just focusing on the west side, the Tiny Beaches area, but we can't totally ignore that stuff too. But yeah, look at all these beach names. That's what makes up Tiny Beaches. I hope you found that helpful. There was a lot more detail I could have gone into there for each tiny beach, but I didn't want to make this super long. So if you have any questions about any of these tiny beaches, or if you want some more specific details, please reach out to me. All of these you can do that are in the description box of this video. So just go there. You can click the Zoom link to book a call directly on my calendar at a time that works for you. And hey guys, until then, I'm looking forward to helping you make a smooth move to Tiny Beaches.